All right, so let's keep working as a team on this project, myself and Evil Hilton. And so we can do things like I can take and add another class. So I can come in here into Get Fun, say I want to add a new item, and just call this, whatever, another class.cs. Add that into the project, and so I can create this another class.cs, and then I can go, put a method in there. Wow, it really wants to write some code for me. So public void and just do something. Doesn't matter. Get some code in there, right? And so I can create this do something method and save that. Now again, that's being saved locally. That change has happened locally. I can see here this little plus sign. If I go to my get changes, it's saying, whoa, there's a change there. You just added another class, right? We want to get this information up to the repositories. There are changes waiting to be made, right? And so a good idea, now if I try and do a sync, by the way, I'm going to click on this. It will go sync, it will go push and pull, but it didn't take this change because it was never committed locally. And all this push and pull and fetch is happening from the local Git repository, not from the files here in my project. And so I first need to commit it to the local Git repository, and then I can do those changes. And so I can come here and say, hey bro, added another class. All right, so then I can commit all, which will commit it to the local repository, but then I need to push it. Now again, I can just do a sync. It's going to pull first to see are there any changes outstanding waiting for me, and then it will push. And it's always good to see what's, well, not always, sorry. Sometimes a good idea to pull and then push so you get those changes. So I'll go ahead and do that. And now up on GitHub, I'll be able to see when I go back to my project that there's now this another class file that has the do something in there. Okay. Now, how should I do this? Let me pass it over to Evil Hilton for a second to get this same do something in there, and then we'll work together to purposely create a conflict. All right, Evil Hilton, take it away. Thank you. So as my brother just said, he created this new file, but in my program, I can't see that here because it's only up at the hub. I can see it up at the GitHub. If I go in here and refresh this page and go back to all the files, I'll be able to see that another class is sitting up there. But here in my project, I can't see it because I have not gotten that information. So what I do is I come into the Git menu and I say I want to pull changes from the origin to the master branches, which is what we're currently working on. So I'll say pull. And when I do that, I can see another class pop in. All right, so now I have those changes in my program. But now we're going to do something, and mainly because I'm evil, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make a change at the same time my brother is making a change. So I'm going to put a line in here, console.writeLine. We do know how to do more than a console write line, by the way, but this is just trying to keep it simple. So console write line, and I'll say, this is from Evil Hilton. Ha. 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 Perfect. I'll save this, but, well, not but, I will do it over here. I'm going to then notice those changes have occurred. I'm going to make those changes. Hey, I made some changes in an evil way. All right, so make changes, and then I can do this commit and push all in one motion. So I can say commit and push instead of doing it in two separate steps. And when I do that, that will commit it to the local repository and push it up to GitHub. I'll push those changes, and now they're up there. Meanwhile, my brother, Professor Hilton, was working on a change himself in the same file, and we're going to get a conflict. Watch this unravel. Back to you, bro. Okay, so as mentioned, my evil twin brother made a change to this class that's sitting up on GitHub. Now, GitHub is all great and sunshine and roses. It's great until two people make a change at the same time. I didn't know he was working on it right now. And so I'm in my project and I'm trying to do something as well. And so I'm going to say console.writeLine. This is some code from Prof. Hilton. Okay, so I thought everything was fine. Okay, and so I saved this. I didn't know he was working on it at the same time. We've both made a change to this file. I go in and say, change the do something method. Again, we got to come up with better things to say here, but I'm trying to give simple examples. Okay, so we say commit that, and it gets committed to the local repository, and I say, okay, great. Go ahead and push those. Well, let's do a sync to see what happens. And so when I say sync, it's going to say, uh-oh, there's a problem. Pull completed with the conflicts in Git Fun repository, resolve the conflicts and commit the results. There was a merge in process with conflicts. We got an error. And this is where GitHub becomes painful. If everybody just does their own stuff and we work well together, meaning I don't go in and modify your files, you don't go in and modify mine, we work as a team, then it works beautifully. As soon as we get a conflict, it becomes very painful. And so we try to avoid as much as possible conflicts. Now, it says here that another class.cs, both were modified. There were changes on my end and there were changes on the other end, and there's a conflict. And so notice it shows file contains merge conflicts, and we can open the merge editor. So when I open the merge editor, it says this is some code. This is the one code. This is from the remote, and this is from the local. These are the two different codes. And so you're going to have somebody on the team who's going to go in and handle this and say, what is it that we want to do in this situation, right? What do I want to do? Do I want to bring in the code from the remote? And if I do, it shows that that version is there. Or do I want to bring in the code from the local, right? So this is showing the result of what's going to happen based on what I do. Or I can say, I want the code from both. And so our task is to go in and look at this merge and say, what is it that we want to do? And so if two people are modifying files, and of course I can copy code from here and paste it down here. I can make changes based on what I'm seeing. But again, this is one of the most painful parts, is when people modify the same file. It creates problems. Do your best not to do it. Do your best to kind of set up rules and say, you be in charge of this and you be in charge of that. And if everybody stays in their lane, then we don't have problems. But inevitably, we're going to just, sometime it's going to be a problem. And so I'm going to determine in this case that I want to keep both of those things. And so I selected both, but I could choose one or the other depending on what I want. And then once I'm done with that, then I can say accept the merge. Okay, so I can click on that. And then this is now set, but now I have to get this back up to the master. And so I'm going to say fixed merge conflict. Okay, and then I can commit that to the local repository, update in the master, and now it's updated on the cloud on the other side, and I can pull those changes down on the writer side. I think I'm probably about out of time. I want to show another thing or two on this and then talk about how we avoid it in a better way. And I'll do that in the next video. Spencer, out.